and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I am going to do a live stream of a Hudson River Valley landscape sketch. We're going to use pen and ink, and we'll probably work over it in watercolor afterwards. Just getting everything set up. Prior to this, people are helping me set up my audio and my text and whatnot, so I could see real time what everybody's doing and saying, and so I can hopefully respond real time and see how everybody's doing. All right, we got hello from the Colorado Rockies. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining my maiden voyage of live streaming on YouTube. I'm just trying to get everything's nice and organized so we can see everything well. I'm using my, wow, okay, it's super zoomed in. I hope I don't make anybody vomit with the adjustments. It's slightly different than what I'm seeing, and I apologize for that. It seems as if like the touch screen on my phone, it's just the zoom in and zoom out to adjust, which you would think that there'd be a slider on it to make that a little bit easier. I guess that might just be part of the live streaming setup. We got Hammy walking on the desk. Of course that would happen during this. Hammy, if you knock this desk down, I swear. All right, I got Hammy in one hand. All right, buddy, we gotta go on the floor. You can sit on your chair. All right, so in front of me I have a quarter sheet of Stonehenge drawing paper. This is 90-pound, 100% cotton, and it is it's hot press. It's smooth. I have some finger marks on it from earlier as I was trying to get everything laid out. I'm looking at a Herman Herzog painting. It's called Man Hunting. It's something that I sketched before. I'm just grabbing it as kind of a go-to for this experiment. I have some Core and Noir repeatographs. They're labeled repeatometrics. They are technical pens. I have them filled with platinum carbon ink. One of them is a 0.35 for a finer line. The other one is 1.0. I know I got these off of eBay. They're new old stock, and I believe I got them for sub $10. Let's say maybe $8. They still make these type of pens. I think they're from a genre called stylographs, but there's a little piece of metal on the inside of this tip, and when you hit it, it'll push it up and the ink will come down, and there's a little weight on the inside that goes back and forth. Okay, I don't know if you know this already, but you need to turn on a specific setting if you want YouTube to save the video on demand of the stream after you finish. If you don't, it just disappears instead. In the experiments that I ran just trying to organize it, it said that it automatically started processing the video. So I'm not sure if that's a new feature where it automatically saves and uploads, but I will watch out for that, so thank you. And just to make sure, is that AF from Japan? Just using your initials for you. Yeah, it might save it as like private or unlisted and then go in and then make it public after that. It's pretty crazy. It has like a thumbnail right when you start it off, and it says smile for the thumbnail, and it's just this table. So um, it would be nice if they had other options, but I'm sure that they'll have that other stuff there. I have been debating doing the Twitch live streaming again. I've just been really not too certain what I want to do in that regard. But I was thinking about you earlier today. I had some Chinese Lu Bao osmanthus flavor. It was just a really good tea. It was I think 2016, the tea, and it was smooth, buttery at first, and then it had like a nice tea taste after that. So I was thinking, what type of tea y'all been drinking in Japan? Yeah, so I could probably upload an edit of this final picture. I have my laptop that you helped me figure out to buy on the side to watch what I have going on. Though you could see some of the marks on the paper. I'll see if you can see it. I've been using charcoal lately, and I really don't want to get charcoal all over a new laptop and get it in the workings, because that would really bring things down. So I have the 0.35. I like, whenever I'm sketching, to map things out in this fashion, where I'll jump around and it'll let me get my proportions down, rather than doing any sort of tracing paper, any sort of grid, anything like that. I like to just skip around, make generalized marks. I think this is kind of a technique that I pull over into my watercolor landscape painting, where I'll just kind of mark and push around my raw sienna to get things going. You could, of course, use pencil to mark things out. In life drawing and painting classes and still life classes, you'll often mark the top, the highest point of your object, and the bottom of your object, the top of the person's head, the bottom of the feet, and then work out the proportions from there. So this is a light sketching, and I can see on my laptop that it does show up, so you can see these marks. I've been playing around with these three tools: the thinner, repeatograph, repeatometric, the thicker one, and then the brush pen, in order to have kind of a cheap and easy way to create a sense of depth. My thinner line for objects that are distant, thicker line for midground and foreground, and then the brush pen is really great for texture, midground, and foreground. And just using those three things, get a great sense of depth taking place. If you don't have these type of pens, you can simply substitute with Pitt pens, P-I-T-T. I think that's a particular brand. Faber-Castell, I believe. The Microns, the Micron pens. Micron has a whole slew of sizes. I think relatively recently they came out with, I know they have the 0.3, but there might be a 0.15. I do have those, but I have read that people find that they get worn out really quickly. before any of the ink would be utilized. So as you can see, I'm just kind of lightly building this up, working the overall image. The reason I work the overall image, not just for proportion issues, and it's a sketch, but also because of kind of stamina. I'm not somebody who can sit for hours on end drawing and creating a picture-perfect scene. There's just a point where you just start to get exhausted, or at least I do. And you might start rushing parts, and you get a inconsistency throughout the painting. So if you work the overall thing at once, the level of attention and energy that you put in to all the spots is equal. A good example is kind of a meme that floats around every so often about somebody that wanted a drawing and showed how much they would charge for it, where it was a horse and the back of the horse was very childishly drawn, and then in front of the horse was very detailed, and it just showed, you know, depending on how much you want to pay, how much time you want me to put into it, this is the results that you're going to get. The rear end of the horse had very little time into it, while the front did not. So work overall, build things up, and have fun with that. Now, with the platinum carbon ink, I personally found that this was the best ink for me. I think, and hopefully I don't pronounce core and nor incorrectly, but they have an eyedropper bottle that they sell, and I've seen it on Blick, and I think Jerry's Artorama. And if you buy a single pen, sometimes they come with it. And from what I recall and just looking it up, I believe that ink is light, fast, and permanent. But I already have the carbon ink on hand, so that's what I go with. I've experimented in the past with this where you can paint over it. It doesn't cause any issues. It is a fountain pen ink, but they do say watch out what fountain pens you put it in. So it has little carbon particles in it, so it's not dye based. That being said, I've never really had it cause any feed issues, and I don't know, it's just a really nice ink. I bought the bottle off of Amazon for maybe $16. I think that's the cheapest place I've ever found that. I think Pen Chalet, CHALET, had it in stock when I was picking up different fountain pens. And it's probably available on Blick and other places as well, but some of the fountain pen websites will have that. The platinum carbon ink, you can also get it in little fountain pen cartridges, and it comes with the platinum carbon desk pen, where I have some on the side. And I have read that in general artists use it quite a bit. There are other inks on the market that you can use. There's the oh, and of course, if you guys have any questions, if you're watching live, feel free to type them in the chat. I have my the chat up right there so I can see it all real time. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. If not, I'll kind of just blab and draw and tell you what I'm doing. But yeah, some other fountain pen inks. There's the Noodler's fountain pen inks. There's a series that they call Bulletproof, which are supposed to be UV resistant, forgery resistant, just hold up well. Fountain pen inks are notoriously known to fade. But I usually look up light fast tests that other people have done. Am I doing this off of a reference? Yeah, I'm looking at Herman Herzog's Man Hunting. Of course, it's going to change whenever I pull it over. But I don't know if there's a way for me to overlay an image while I'm doing the live stream. And if I zoom out too much to see everything, it just becomes too much for everybody to see. Like, you end up seeing my feet and the floor and everything. But yeah, Herman Herzog, Hudson River Valley painter. I think he was German born and learned in Germany. Hudson River Valley was late 1700s to mid 1800s. They were kind of, I guess, realism and picturesque, where they painted scenes throughout the United States, and it was to show the greatness, the size, the feel of the American landscape compared to, I believe, compared to the European landscape that people were prone to seeing. And from there, a few of the common painters that you may know from the Hudson River Valley School, essentially. Thomas Cole, he is the name that you hear within it. I am streaming straight off the phone. I wonder if there's a way for me to attach something to the laptop to stream right off of that. So the phone's streaming directly, and the laptop is just here for me to see the chat. Yeah. I was trying to get the Kindles to work for me to see the chat, and it wouldn't let me do that. So I'm going to have to play around with them on the side and see why it won't let me comment. There's a lot of books on the Hudson River Valley movement. Jasper Francis Cropsey. I have a painting that I did in oils, a sketch of one of his works off to the side. I think Thomas Moran is considered to be part of that school. Pronunciation wise, Albert Verstad, is that the correct pronunciation for him? Just amazing painters. Okay, so a webcam. Would I want to find a webcam that has a... Okay, so that would be my video input, the webcam, right? I'm assuming the webcam and the microphone on the computer could potentially be my two recording devices. I'd have to see the quality of the webcam, but that'd be a good go-to. One of the guys that I buy tea from, a lot of the tea that I drink is stored in China, Hong Kong, all those locations, and it has to be shipped to the United States and then shipped out from there. He is doing a tea channel on YouTube, and he bought an expensive little device for the audio input. Oh, okay. How much do you think I should look at, or price-wise, for a webcam? There's a little figure right here. Now, if you look at the original painting that I'm sketching from, Hammy, you can't put your claws in me, bud. You can come sit on the couch, on the chair. There's a little figure right here, and this figure is kind of showing the proportion issues that I have with the setup of this, and the height above his head with the water versus his head right there. I could bring things up if I wanted to, but I'm fine with the proportion of what's happening here. I'm just kind of inking him in. Hey, Ham. This guy's holding a rifle, so it's man hunting, so he's out looking over this lake. For those of you that don't know, I have a long-haired cat, Hammy, and he is super attached to my hip and wants to be on my lap, and he has his own stool for him to come hop up in and watch me draw or paint. And sometimes this hand's drawing or painting, and my other hand is kind of looped around him like those statues where the guy's fighting off the lion and holding him back to make sure he doesn't come jump all over this and get all inked up. Yeah, okay, that's good to know. I think that'll be kind of a goal for the Patreon or like the Ko-fi, to slowly build up a live streaming thing. I mean, you know that I used to live stream on Twitch, but I think a lot of people use Twitch for gaming live streaming, and I don't know if people really enjoy painting aspects, or the painting aspect on Twitch might be more digital, and some of the people that like this channel don't really know about Twitch or don't know how to use that. So I'm wondering if it's just better for me to stick here. Yeah. So that's the big question. Live stream on YouTube, live stream on Twitch. I know that Twitch will automatically save it. With this one, this is the 1mm, so it's the thicker one that I've been playing with in the foreground. It has this kind of a skipping issue whenever you're on the side, and that's commonplace with the technical pens and the stylographs. So if you hold it more upright, you'll get better marking. I think they're just originally for draftsmanship and technical design. Yeah. So Miss Kelly, Twitch is a website. I think they call it like twitch.tv, where a lot of people will have channels and live stream on it. and really big communities on there. You have your gamers where people will live stream, and it'll show the screen of their game that they're playing. It'll show maybe a video of them sitting in their chair talking and interacting. And then from there, you have the chatting and the interaction on the side. But like the other gentleman had said, there's a lot of other channels that are not for that. For example, there's a guy, yeah, it's easier to get found on. Yeah. There's people on Twitch that will live stream art, you know, so you might have them doing art in this fashion. It might be their digital program that they're drawing on, or art in this fashion. I think chatting and talking take place on that. But there's even people that bug the scammers. So if you have like those scam call centers, they have whole streams set up and whole communities where they're calling up the scam call centers and interacting with them and messing with them and wasting their time. So there's a lot of different things on there. I haven't been on quite a while. I'm curious how you all found the live stream today. If it gave you a notification, or if you just use like a browser feature, or what have you. So I switched back to the 3.5 while I was talking, and with sketching and drawing these type of things, there's little different types of mark making that you can prefer and use. You can use your straight line, your cross hatching. You can go with stippling. You can make little, I'm going to put little hook marks in the sky just so you can see. Your broken dotted lines. Here we have clouds shining through. I'm just going to gently make marks for them. But it's good to find your own voice with a pen or pencil, charcoal, whatever type of mark making you prefer. Whether you want your lines nice and tight and clean, whether you want them loose, whether you want a little bit of flair on them. You know, play around and have fun and find what represents you. And discover what type of mark making can be used to give the illusion of trees and different elements. Classically, we'll kind of see the horizontal lines for pine trees, vertical, and just scribble in some horizontal lines. And you can make it as messy or as clean as you want. Okay, so you guys are subscribed. You have the bell rung, so you push the notifications. That's cool. I really hope that those notifications don't get annoying, because I've been uploading a lot of videos lately, and I don't want you guys to be like, oh, it's 6 in the morning and I'm getting a notification. But it's interesting, so that's how it lets you know. Thank you for letting me know that. This is a Noodler's brush pen. It's made out of some type of celluloid vegetable resin. I think a vegetable resin that is meant to be biodegradable. I think over a long period of time. This has a smell to it, and I've had it for 2 or 3 years, and it still has that smell. And it does evaporate a little bit, like the water out of it. So eventually, if you're not constantly refilling it, after a few weeks, this one dries out. But that being said, there's other brush pens on the market. There's the Pentel pocket brush, which if they have that in Japan, if you see that in any stores, that's a good brush pen. You can find it. I found it at Blick, I think, and I found it online. It comes with little cartridges. I don't know if the ink's light fast, but you can use a blunt syringe to pull that ink out and put other types of ink in it. So that's what I would recommend doing if you find that. Hey Mom, how's it going? That's my mom, everybody. So anyway, so this is the brush pen. There's other ones on the market, like I said. And I'm going to use this as kind of a side brush. And you'll see how much it lets out ink-wise and how you can use it for texture in the foreground. But yeah, with the YouTube setup, YouTube's been playing around with a lot of the shorts video lately. I think YouTube is trying to compete with TikTok and other Instagram and quick services like that. But I've been putting out the super shorts as that aspect and just kind of having fun with those. More of kind of like an artsy aesthetic thing, but I know there's no real way to learn from that. Hello, Mr. James. How y'all doing? Yeah, so YouTube, I don't know how it does with pushing out live streams. So with the brush pen, you can see that it's laying out a lot more ink. With the side brush effect in the Chinese brush painting, that is called the axe stroke, and it's used for landscape painting. And I'm just using that here. In watercolor painting, if you look up Alan Owen and David Usher, they are both masters of using this side brush technique to create trees. And yeah, they're just fantastic at it. It's just so deceptively looks so simple, but you can tell that they've just been practicing it for years. In fact, Alan Owen, Facebook notified me that he turned 88 the other day. So he's kind of one of the last holdovers from the English United Kingdom painting traditions of watercolor of that older generation. And he's got a YouTube channel, and it's really good. But he's a really grumpy old man, but it's fun. He's a nice guy. So far, just to sum up what's been going on, the 0.35, we use that in the background, and just that being a simpler, smaller line, and just general strokes with that helps that recede in the picture plane. I used it to map out spots in the foreground, but I switched over to a lot of the 1mm one, the thicker line, which then made it darker tonally, and it pushed forward, and we have some more detail starting to take place in there. And then in the kind of midground and foreground, I used the brush pen, which put a lot more ink out and created a lot more texture. It's a lot darker, so it pushes forward. So, like I said, if you don't have those, you can use micron pens. You could use the Pitt pens. They'll usually have a small one, big one, and a brush size one. You could even carry this over to graphite, charcoal. You've got a small graphite pencil and a graphite block, you know, for your small mark, your large mark. You can even do it with charcoal. Excuse me. A lot of different approaches for it. Now, in general, once again, so we're looking at Hermann Herzog painting. I don't know the year for this one, but it does say he was 1832 to 1932. Was he 100 years old? Did he live that? Wow. But I don't know the year for this one. But I want to build up detail in this midground, or at least the illusion of detail with it. And horizontal strokes for the water. It's just like really, really important. If you watch Bob Ross, just to kind of name drop Bob Ross, if you watch him, if he has his trees in the background, he'll bring the trees down vertically, but then he'll pass horizontally left to right over it. I'm umming a lot, apologize, but live stream, so just getting used to it. There's Eric Kopel, a young man, modern master of the painting style that we're looking at here, and it just does absolutely amazing works. He has a DVD series with a company, and I had seen some clips of it, and he harped on the horizontal aspect of water as well. And whenever I was looking at the essentially golden age of watercolor out of Britain, Girton and others, you'll see horizontal brush marks for water. It's just the common theme. Water is going to be, yep, it's Manhunting 1871. Oh, thank you for that. So the horizontal strokes, since the water is a horizontal plane, creating those helps give that effect. You know, with my trees are upright. You'll see that I have the vertical lines that I'm using for those as just quick, easy marks. So just the brush stroke itself, or the pen stroke, can help create the illusion of whatever you're working with. So the young man in the chat is studying Japanese in Japan. I don't know if he wanted to update us on his education process and how things are going over there. I haven't had a chance to catch up with him, but super proud of him. And the important thing for this one, we have the man hunting. And if you look up above him, and I don't have the picture for you all unless you're looking at it on a different reference, there's a tree that comes up here. But that tree is offset. And you can see how it's not layered correctly in my sketch over the background mountains. But that offset is really important. I'm gonna grab a brush handle, a flat edge, so you can see how I put that over there. If I had this coming straight up and I had my tree right above it, little line connections like that are just kind of no-nos in painting and drawing. So push those things off to the side. And you'll see how Mr. Herzog had did that. Today's your last day of summer vacation. Going into the second semester from tomorrow. Very cool. That's exciting. Started up the week before. We went for teacher in services. Then we did more teacher in services. And then from there, Thursday and Friday, we had our students arrive. And this year I am teaching financial math, business math, so the one that I've always taught. And I have advanced math. I have 2 periods of that. I'm not doing the DE one. Mr. Nagy's doing the DE. But I have the advanced math. I'm using this brush pen just to start building up more tone. I got to be careful with that texture aspect and losing that sense of depth there. You can use it for heavier brush making as well. In fact, this pen was designed with the brush pens that were coming out in Japan and other locations probably, I don't know if it was like 50 years ago or whatnot, but it relates back to those regions. No, I just told you what I was teaching this year. The business math, financial math, and the this year I'm doing 2 sections of advanced math. Mr. Nagy is doing the DE advanced math. I'm doing the regular. So for those that don't know, I teach high school. Students in high school can take some college courses and get college credit. Unfortunately, I'm not teaching that, but I'm teaching the class alongside that. We didn't have physics this year, but we're looking at getting it back next year. With all the other stuff that have taken place the past 2 years, there weren't a lot of people signing up for that. But it kind of feels like finally we're going to have a normal school year. Yeah, so they're trying to rebuild the chemistry program, because we've had chemistry teachers come and go, and they had it virtual and on Edgenuity E2020. So they're trying to do a year of chemistry, and then I'll be back in after that to go into the physics, which I absolutely love teaching the physics. A few things to point out with this. Let's see. Okay, so I've harped a lot on texture and the tonality. She is teaching. What is she teaching? Mr. Poley passed away 2 or 3 days ago. Started just like throw that out on the live stream, but she's going to be teaching like the journey to careers type stuff, or those type of classes. But unfortunately, Mr. Poley, one of our teachers who's been there for years, like over 40 years, he was in a nursing home for the past year or so, and he had passed away. So There's that. I don't know if my mom had, I'm sure my mom had saw that because my dad went to the high school that I went to, and Mr. Pulley even taught my dad. That tells you how long that gentleman's been around for. And I felt like that guy was like just a good mentor for anybody. Mr. Pulley would be out in the hallway just sitting down on a bench, and he'd like put his fingers to his lips and just say shh, and then he'd walk over with you to his classroom door, and you'd look in and everybody was just sitting there working quietly. Like, he was just on point, Mr. Pulley. Okay, so anyway, sorry about that, like, depressing turn right there. A few things with this, and sketching from the masters helps you see these things and learn about these aspects. That we have that tonality, and I've been harping on that, going from front to back, just using that as an easy trick there. We did not really put in the dark detail that's in this midline, so that's something that can be played around with and built upon. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this one or how long I'm going to go for. It's 6:15 now, but what I think is important and what I want to point out is we have this light tonality here, and we could build up. There's in fact a tree trunk in this original, so I'm just going to kind of toss that in and go dark with it, and we have the shadow of that tree trunk, and we start getting shadow elements on the underside of things here. And where that's coming from is in the original painting, we have dark clouds up here, which are really just so masterfully painted, just so amazing. But we have that light coming through, and it's illuminating part of our spots here, casting shadows and creating that light here, and it's what creates the light on the water. To create that, we can kind of hopefully go back to the etching masters and just use parallel lines, and where I omit the parallel lines is my rays of light coming down, and I can use that as just a quick idea of it. But the main takeaway is how long and at what point would you notice that that's what Mr. Herzog did in order to create the flow of light across the painting. So in fact, I'm going to bring it down here, my horizontal lines, my parallel lines, sorry, to bring those dark marks over those hills, and the areas that I leave blank are hopefully that guided light. So that's the idea. Oh, thank you. I'm certified to teach art, but I would of course love to teach that. And thank you for that huge compliment. I appreciate both y'all. Thank you so much for that. I feel like these videos are kind of an outlet for teaching as well, and at least teaching art. But yeah, my degrees are mathematics and physics, and I'm certified for art. I'm using the flow of this pen to let it skip. Yeah, and that's the way I really liked approaching physics, was just the whole math-based aspect of it. It's just, I find it, just being a big old puzzle, and a lot of critical thinking, word problems, looking at stuff and piecing together what's being asked and what's being said. I'm really looking forward to having that back, teaching that in a few years. Darken this ridge line here. Oh, really? That's great to hear. It's just, we really needed that, like, that rigorous aspect, because once you get to that college level and the speed that the college goes at, I know Mr. Nagy prepares you all for the that speed as well, but that jump from high school to college can be really overwhelming for people, and that's what I was concerned about for everybody. And programming, computer programming, is just, that's, for me, was the roughest. Just sitting there and just being meticulous and figuring out what mistakes you made, because there's always a mistake with it. And in fact, my college roommate Frank, he was doing, what was his in? It's because we took physics and math classes together, me and Frank. He was astronomy, but he went to college for, then he went to grad school for, I think, computational astrophysics, and then from there he went and is working for a company, computer programming. You'll always have a job in computer programming. I was born up in New York. I live down in Louisiana. So, Andrew Broussard, but with a New York accent. Okay, so the pens. Let's see. So, these are Koh-i-Noor. Let me see if I have the spelling on one of the packages. And hopefully you can see that. Koh-I-Noor. And these are called the repeatometrics. This is some sort of vintage old one that they had, new old stock on eBay. And what it is this. Here we have a little reservoir that I could pull off, and I can use an eyedropper to fill it up with ink. Now what happens, this piece screws out if you need to clean it. There is a little metal wire that runs through this metal tube, and when it contacts a surface, it pushes that little metal wire up and it allows the ink to flow out. There's a weight inside here attached to that little metal wire that lifts up, and then it comes back down when there's no pressure on it. They are called technical pens. repeatographs, repeatometrics, stylographs, a whole slew of names used to market or describe them. And that's that one brand. And throughout the years, they used different types of filling mechanisms. Here's a different one. I think it's the same company, but you twist this end and it has a little part that moves up on down on the inside, and that's used to fill it up. And it has our little wire here, or a little tube, and the little wire comes out of that, and it lets your ink out. I think that drafting classes, things like that, use those, but that's what these are. This guy is the brush pen. It has underneath here, this is called a blind cap. It's just to make it look nice. But I could twist this, just like this guy, to move a little piston up and down on the inside, and that would suck ink up as well. So it's different filling mechanisms. In fact, I have some of these from different brands that have a little lever on the side, and I replace the ink sac on the inside, and they fill up like fountain pens. So that's what these guys are. And I think people that did architecture, drafting, technical drawing in college probably have used these types of pens. That being said, I never had. So that's the pens. Hopefully that's a good description of it. Because of the little wire on it, the paper that you use, you kind of want to maybe check that out. That's the reason I'm using smooth drawing paper, is so that that little wire isn't catching and tearing up paper. In fact, with fountain pens, you can kind of experience that same thing. If you use watercolor paper and it's not a smooth paper, you can start catching and building up that pen on the nib. Sorry, the paper on the nib, and you'd want to watch out for that. So yeah, I think my friend, oh, what is the brand and the name of the brush pen? So this is Noodler's Conrad with a K brush pen. But there's the Pentel Pocket Brush. So this is a smaller company. I don't know if you can find them in Japan. It's a small company in America, and he orders from India and has them made over there. The Pentel Pocket Brush, I think that is a Japanese company, so I would look into them. There is also these type of brush pens, but I don't think they're fillable. I think they call them the Bitmoji pens. Kuretake, Kuretake, I think is the brand. Kuretake brush pens, but I'm not sure the ink, and I don't really use them that much, and I don't know if they're refillable. But brush pens are really fun, especially if you're learning. I'm guessing they were originally designed for the Oriental script and for holding it upright. In fact, it has that little loop on the back of it like you would have on a Chinese or Japanese brush to hang it and dry it, even though you wouldn't hang this to dry. It's just a cool little feature that they put on that. But yeah, I think my old roommate Frank actually went to Florida for that. for the computational astrophysics. And what else? Yeah, hopefully this year I can incorporate fountain pens in the classroom. I really would like to do that. I have a box of fountain pens to give out to students, and I have a whole bunch of inks. And then if I can do that again, I can make some videos about it and see if people want to donate fountain pens to the kids, or other teachers can contact me about that, or we could find other teachers that want to incorporate in their classroom and get that happening at other schools in other states. So I've been going for about an hour now. It is 6:30, which isn't that late, but I am gonna start wrapping this up. I might come back to this one down the line in a part 2, or may experiment with just something completely different. But first and foremost, I appreciate everybody that came into the chat, helped me set up the cameras and figure things out, offered ideas and suggestions, and just offered the support. So thank you so much. That's literally the reason why I want to do these type of things, because of the positive interactions that people are responding with. So thank you so much. There are little birds in the sky. There's some birds in the original. Whenever I sign these, I usually try to just say who it's after. So I'm going to fit it up in here. I'm going to say Andrew Broussard after Herman Herzog, so it sits in it. I need to find a fun pun and a day of the week to live stream, like live stream Thursday or something like that, but make it like a fun pun. So right after Herman Herzog. And also to help guide people towards other painting areas. So Mr. James is saying, just starting to teach myself watercolor painting. With watercolor painting, thank you, I really appreciate it, Mr. James. There's a whole slew of different types of painters and different painting styles online and on YouTube, and a whole bunch of free resources. I myself have tons of videos, but it all comes down to what you want to paint and what style you want to paint in. So explore those. Do you want to be meticulous and detailed? Do you want to be fast and loose? Are you looking at landscapes? Are you looking at animals? Are you looking at still lifes, portraits? Kind of narrow down those type of things and look into those areas and see what you like there. And then from there, look at the teaching styles of those type of people that have it out there. For example, one of my first people that I watched with landscape painting was Rick S. on YouTube. And he had a great approach. He used masking fluid, which I tried at first, but it wasn't for me. But his mixture of colors and his use of burnt sienna and ultramarine back and forth was very influential on me, and had a minimalistic palette approach, and that was really important. And then after that, I found Stephen Cronin, who paints in the Ron Ranson style, which I do the fast and loose style. And he had his wet and wet in his applications. And then I watched him and experimented from there. And then I saw David Usher and other people, and I like their approaches. So, like I said, there's plenty of people out there, plenty of different teachers, plenty of a lot of free material to learn from. And if you ever have any questions, if you're ever like, hey, is there anybody you'd recommend for watching with still lives, let me know. I'll try to find somebody for that. On that note, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'll just give it another moment to see if there's any questions. And if not, y'all have a great day. Are we all done? I think so. All right, I think it should automatically save this. Okay, landscapes and sea. All right, yeah, there's tons of that online. I guess comment on some of the videos, and I'll let you know who can have that. There are some books that I have on maritime paintings, and I can show those in a video to see if they're something that would interest you before you spend money on books in that regard. But maritime, I would say, like, you know, I have the landscapes on here, but Stephen Cronin would have that. Joe Menza has more mountain stuff. Yeah, we'll continue that conversation on the side. All right, y'all have a great day. Take care. Let me just figure out how to turn this off now. I think, let's see. Do I just exit this out?